Well, we're changing gear now to the topic of the EFCC recovery of monies and the fight against corruption. Joining us to look at this is Mr. Emmanuel Anyaegbunam, who is a political and legislative historian. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you so much.
It has been an age. We haven't seen you in a while. Just quickly, though, what do you make of what's been going on in the polity? What's happening right now?
Well, what is happening is actually there are only those of us who have been a part of the system, by one way or the other, know that the way we took off and the setting on which we are operating, you will not expect a different result from what you have now. If we are to take a cue from 1999 to this moment, you won't expect a different thing from what the result is.
How do you mean? Is it in terms of the fight against corruption or the monies that are being recovered?
Well, the issue is this. Every big enterprise is run by big administrators. And government is the biggest enterprise you have. And you have no administrators, let me say it more or less. Because of that, you will end up where you are at the moment. Basically, let me say one thing this. A prophecy that came to this generation of Africans was by Obama himself. On his visit to Black Africa, the day he was in Ghana, he said one thing. In the 21st century, capable, reliable, and transparent institutions are the key to success. Strong parliament and honest police force, independent judges and journalists, vibrant private sector and civil society. These are what gives life for democracy, because these are what matters in people's life. If you take a good look at our public institutions, the way they are at the moment, and what we are throwing up, the issue now is that you see tons of dollars in private houses, in cemetery, and other areas. Then you ask yourself, what level of accounting will produce this? And then at this critical moment, you are in a recession. The universities are there. ASU has not even had a seminar. As at the moment where we are, Auditor General reports or your budget for the year 2017 has not been passed in April. The collective malaise on which we have moved into, like let me say, if we said we had maybe a rethink from 1999 to now, like I said, the balance sheet is an appalling balance sheet. It's a deficit which we may not even be able to go out of because we cannot, because of the deficiency or systemic failure based on our administration, we will not be able to appraise when we are even in a recession or when we will even grope into a depression. Because the issue is that the statistics, it seems now that you have more of informal funds than the official funds. Yes, you see money here. The other one is that it was in the airport, that just like the man was saying. Then this one moves into a private house. There's one in cemetery. In all these, at a point in time, it was the refineries and then the Farouk Gate and the rest. You have not been able to ask yourself, what level of accounting system will leave an individual with this volume of funds? In basic bookkeeping, it is the means of keeping business transactions in a systematic manner so that the book will show at any time the owner's set of accounts. That's just booking. We're not talking of accounts. We don't know how much we have. We are back again and we've seen that the foreign reserves has improved. These are the stories where we have. And if we take you back to General Gowon's 9-point agenda in 1970, corruption was a key issue. Infrastructures and the rest of them on public administration. 1970 is how many years today? 47 years ago. That was Gowon's 9-point agenda. We moved into when Gowon left, Pedro report and the rest of them, and the purge in public service. They are all about corruption, isn't it? Then we came back when Obasanjo told us that it will never be what? Business as usual. Today we are more business. Wallowing in us, we are now embarrassed. We are now a laughing stock to the world. Let's take it that way. You cannot control your currency. Today, if I have a business today, 48 hours, one ton or the other will change this. Nobody knows what the exchange rate is. So these are the basic issues. Then the oil, if it has stabilized or not. So these are the basic issues. And then because the administrative structure is is in chaos. Let me say it more or less. And then the basic institutions, including civil society, cannot come up and do any other thing. Let me cite as an example. Arebashola has ruled Osun State for 2 years and some months without commissioners. The same Meles are moved into Edo State and even in Ondo State. So you go on as a sole administrator.
He's just appointed the commissioners. You know,
after 2 years.
He had said that
the Constitution demands mandatorily regular meetings of the Executive Council, because in Second Republic, Barebe Musa government was declared by the Court of Appeal unconstitutional, even when it was the House of Assembly that refused successive 4 lists of commissioners. So if he now swore an oath to be a sole administrator, in the local governments, we know what is happening there is caretaker in a constitutional regime. So these are the basic issues. So far as the institutions are weak, when you do what you always do, you get what you get. That's what we are into.
Well, I have to ask, just quickly, do you think that he had to appoint commissioners whether or not he could afford to pay them, whether or not the state could afford to look at them?
The Constitution demands commissioners. It is a mandatory issue from the Constitution. It is not at his own whims or caprice. So, and these are the collective issues, because what it means is that collectively you now have an idea. It may be advisory, but you have input. You are not a sole administrator or a dictator. And if we leave this, it is now moving from one state to the other. Even the president, we saw his piecemeal approach for almost 3 months. So when you have gone to the people and enter a social contract and have a constitution that any person can throw to the winds, then we are in problem. This is where we are today. We are looking for EFCC. Nobody has called for Auditor General's account. Or even if that office has a proactive law that will be able to do the basic auditing and checks and balances required from all these institutions. So this is where we are at the moment.
So you are raising questions as to what sort of accounting system would leave this sort of money, this huge amount of money we're seeing in private hands. You're calling that a question.
Yes,
but then would you say that we're approaching, because all of this, we understand, is supposed to be as a result, all of these discoveries, as a result of the fight against corruption or the fight on corruption. So we've had the whistleblowing policy where it is that, people are beginning to tell on their neighbors, and that's the reason why these discoveries have been made. Would you say that we're approaching this fight in the right manner?
Like I said, we have fought corruption all through from the 70s. Those of you who will know about Taka and Dabo, it was all on corruption. At a point in time, our Ministry of Defense had more cement at a point in time, the cement armada. It was all corruption.